Hello students, today we are going to understand the chapter packing. This chapter is written by Jerome K. Jerome. Actually, this chapter packing is a little portion of the novel Three Man in a Boat. And that Three Men in a Boat it is written by Jerome K. Jerome, and a little part of it is being taken here in this chapter. In this chapter, the author tells us that before starting any journey, we should plan and prepare for it well. Otherwise, we have to face a lot of difficulties. We should not take any task very easy or leave it on others. Our life is also journey, and we meet with complex situations many times while continuing our journey. But if we have pride to deal with them, we do not have to experience too much pain. Through this story, the author tells us that the thing that seems to be very easy may not be as easy as we think. Packing things in a bag is not a difficult task, but it made a mess because it was not done with a proper plan. So let's start with the chapter. I said I would pack. See, in this chapter, there are four characters. First is the author Jerome himself, his friend George and Harris, and one dog named Montmorency. So here I said I would pack. The author is very confident. He said that he would do the packing for a journey. I rather pride myself on my packing. Pride myself means the author was very proud of himself that he can pack everything very easily. He was proud of him. Packing is one of those many things that I feel I know more about than any other person living. He used to think that he can do the packing much more nicely than the other person. It surprises me myself sometimes how many such things there are. I impressed the fact upon George and Harris and told them that they had better leave the whole matter entirely to me. So, Jerome, the author, he told that he was very much confident in himself. He told them that he knows very well about packing. So he asked his friends to leave the matter on him, and he will do the packing. And he feels proud of his packing entirely, completely. He told that they had better leave the whole matter entirely to me. They fell into the suggestion with a readiness that had something uncanny about it. Readiness means they were ready to do something without arguing. मीन्स वो अपनी इच्छा से मतलब जब ऑथर अपनी इच्छा से सब कुछ करने को तैयार था सो दे वर वेरी हैप्पी सो they were ready to leave everything on the author. That had something uncanny about it. Uncanny means strange. George spread himself over the easy chair and Harris cocked his legs on the table. So his friend George, he sat on the easy chair, आराम कुर्सी जिसको कहते हैं, on that. And Harris cocked his legs on the table. Cocked his legs means he put his legs on the table. This was hardly what I intended. Intended means to have a plan. तो यही उसका author का एक plan था. What I had meant, of course, was that I should boss the job and that Harris and George should potter about under my directions. Potter about means to do some unimportant things. So this was hardly what I intended. Now here the author is saying that this was not the thing which he had a plan. But what he meant regarding this, he said that he just wanted to boss the job. Means वो चाहता था कि उसके अंडर में, सुपरविजन में, उसके जो दो दोस्त हैं वो उसके सुपरविजन में काम करे, and he will sit. I pushing them aside every now and then with, oh you, here, let me do it. So what he did, अब वो उसको क्या करता, बार बार अब उसको गुस्सा आने लगी, तो उसने क्या किया, अपने जो दोनों दोस्तों को जो बैठे थे साथ में उनको बार बार धक्का दे देता था और कहता था मुझे काम करने दो. There you are simple enough, really teaching them, as you might say. Means he was very annoyed, and he started saying back to them. They're taking it in the way they did irritated me. आपके साथ भी ऐसे होता होगा, जब कोई आप अकेले काम करें और दूसरे लोग आपको सिर्फ देखते रहे तो कैसा लगता है, इरिटेशन होता है ना. In the same way the author was irritated because both the friends of him were sitting and they were just watching him, so this irritated him. There is nothing does irritated me more than seeing other people sitting about doing nothing when I am working. So what he said that the other people are sitting and they are just watching me doing my work. This irritates me a lot. I lived with a man once who used to make me mad that way. Now he is saying that once there was a man with whom he used to live and he used to make him mad. He would loll on the sofa and watch me doing things by the hour together. Loll on the sofa means to lie, sit or stand in a relaxed way, means aram farmana. Okay, so what he said that man used to irritate him a lot because that person who used to sit and relax on the sofa and he used to watch him doing the things. He said it did him real good to look on at me messing about. Messing means सब कुछ अव्यवस्थित करना, to put everything in disorder. So what he said that it really real good to look on at me messing about. So means that person used to feel very happy when he used to mess everything. Now I am not like that. Means at that time he used to mess everything, but now he is very perfect in packing. I can't sit still and see another man slaving and working. Now his thoughts are changed. Now what he is saying that now he can't sit still and he doesn't want anyone else doing work and he is just sitting and watching. तो अब उसके विचार बदल गए हैं कि अब वो क्या चाहता है कि दूसरों की जगह ये खुद काम करे. I want to get up and superintend and walk around with my hands in my pockets and tell him what to do. So now what he is saying, उसको क्या अच्छा लगता है कि बस अपने हाथ पीछे बांधकर पॉकेट में डालकर या तो अपने और चारों तरफ घूमना and to superintend each and every work. It is my energetic nature, I can't help it. This is his nature. So he says that I can't help it. However, I did not say anything, but started the packing. As his friends were sitting and they were just watching, so he got irritated, but he didn't say anything. But he started doing packing. It seemed a longer job than I had thought it was going to be. Earlier, he was thinking that this is a very less time consuming work, so that's why he opted for doing that work by himself. But now he's saying that this is not a simple work. But I got the bag finished at last and I sat on it and strapped it. Strapped it means band kar dena, usko tie kar dena. Okay. So now what he did, he finished his work of packing and he sat on that bag and tied the bag. Ain't you going to put the boots in? Said Harris. Now till now, both his friends, George and Harris, were watching him. They didn't say anything to him, but as soon as he packed the bag, they said that you are not going to put those boots inside the bag. And I looked around and found I had forgotten them. So when the Jerome looked around, he found that yes, he has not packed the boot. That's just like Harris. He couldn't have said a word until I had got the back shirt and strapped, of course. So now he got irritated that when I was doing the packing at that time, the Harris didn't said anything. But now when he had strapped the bag, he said to pack the boots again. And George laughed. One of those irritating, senseless laughs of his. So, if anybody laughs at you when you are in tension or when you are irritated, then what happened? So, George started laughing and this irritated him a lot. They do make me so wild. I opened the bag and packed the boots in. And then, just as I was going to close it, a horrible idea occurred to me. So, what the author did, he opened the bag again and packed the boots again inside the bag. And then, as he was going to close the bag, an idea occurred to him. Had I packed my toothbrush? Now, he remembered that whether he has packed his toothbrush or not. I don't know how it is, but I never do know whether I have packed my toothbrush. Now, as he was doing the packing, he don't remember that whether he has packed his toothbrush or not. My toothbrush is a thing that haunts me when I am traveling and makes my life a misery. Misery haunts me means to give him a trouble. So what happened? He said that his toothbrush always gives him a trouble because whenever he is traveling, his life becomes misery because of toothbrush. I dream that I haven't packed it and wake up in a cold perspiration and get out of bed and hunt for it. And in the morning, I pack it before I have used it and have to unpack again to get it. And it is always the last thing I turn out of the bag and then I repack and forget it and have to rush upstairs for it at the last moment and carry it to the railway station wrapped up in my pocket handkerchief. So now what he is saying? कि जब भी वो पैकिंग करता था तो उसको रात को सपने में दिखता था कि उसने अपना टूथब्रश पैक नहीं किया है और जब जैसे ही उठता तो उसको पसीना पसीना आ जाता एंड ही in the morning he has to pack that toothbrush again. He has to unpack the bag again and then pack the toothbrush, and it is the only this toothbrush is the last thing which he has to pack, and then twice or thrice he has to repack his bag, and then again he forget whether he has packed his toothbrush or not. So he has to rush to the upstairs to bring the toothbrush at the last moment and carry it to the railway station wrapped up in my pocket handkerchief, and that toothbrush he has to take in his handkerchief. Of course, I had to turn every mortal thing out now, and of course, I could not find it. I rummaged the things up into much the same state that they must have been before the world was created and when chaos reigned. So, now what he is saying? As he remembered that whether he has packed his toothbrush or not, so he searched. Rummage means he searched in a hurried or careless way. And now what happened? Again, he has to unpack the bag and now again he has to pack that bag again. Of course, I found George's and Harry's 18 times over, but I couldn't find my own. So whenever he was unpacking the bag, he found the George's and Harry's toothbrush there, but he didn't found his own toothbrush. I put the things back one by one and held everything up and shook it. So what he started doing, he started packing the bag one by one. He started keeping all the things one by one again and then shook it. Then I found it inside a boot. So where he found his toothbrush? Inside the boot. I repacked once more. So again he had to repack the bag. When I had finished, George asked if the soap was in. Now, when he had finished his work, he had finished the packing, George asked whether he has kept the soap or not. I said I didn't care a hang whether the soap was in or whether it wasn't. So now he got irritated and he said that no, I don't care about the soap, whether it is there or not. And I slammed the bag shut and strapped it and found that I had packed my spectacles in it and had to reopen it. So now what happened? When George asked him about the soap, he got irritated. He said that I don't know whether it is there or not. He got very much irritated and he again shut the bag and strapped it. Now what happened? He found that he had packed his spectacles. Spectacles means chashma inside the bag. So in order to take that spectacles out, he had to reopen it again. It got shut up finally at 10:05 p.m. And then there remained the hampers to do. So he started doing packing early in the morning, but at night, round about 10:05 p.m., his packing was over. Harris said that we should be wanting to start in less than 12 hours' time and thought that he and George had better to do the rest. And I agreed and sat down and they had a go. So now only the hampers. Hampers means food in which the things, eatable things were kept. So George and Harris decided that the remaining part they will do because they have to get up within a 12 hours. They began in a light-hearted spirit, means they were not at all in a mood to do the pack, evidently intending to show me how to do it. So, what they were doing, they were trying to irritate the author. उसके सामने आके उसको दिखा चिढ़ा रहे थे कि देखो हम कितनी लाइटली और हम कितने अच्छे से पैकिंग करते हैं. I made no comment, but the author remained quiet. He didn't comment on them. I only waited. With the exception of George, Harris is the worst packer in this world. Means George can do the packing a little bit, but Harris was the worst packer in this world. And I looked at the piles of plates and cups. Piles means gutter, बहुत ऊंचा सा ढेर of plates and cups. And kettles and bottles and jars and pies and stoves, cakes, tomatoes, etc. And felt that the thing would soon become exciting. So when he saw that there were many plates, cups, bottles, jars, pies, and stoves, everything were there. So he thought that now everything would be very exciting. He just kept silent in order to watch the things happening. It did. They started with breaking a cup. So when they started doing George and Harris started doing a packing, what happened? They broke a cup. That was the first thing they did. So breaking up of a cup was the first thing they did. They did that just to show you what they could do and to get you interested. Means they just wanted to show him that they can do anything. Then Harris packed the strawberry jam on top of a tomato and squashed it. And they had to pick out the tomato with a teaspoon. So now what happened? Harris ने क्या किया? जो strawberry का jam था, tomatoes के ऊपर रख दिया उस जैम का पैक और उससे क्या हुआ? सारे टमाटर पिचक गए, सारे उसमें स्क्वैश, सब कुछ पूरे उसमें फैल गया. And they had to pick those tomatoes with a teaspoon. And then it was George's turn. And he trod on the butter. So trod on the butter means stabbed on. अब जॉर्ज का टर्न आया तो उसने क्या किया? उसने बटर के ऊपर अपना पैर रख दिया. I didn't say anything, but I came over and sat on the edge of the table and watched them. So the author was sitting and watching all these things quietly. He didn't said anything. It irritated them more than anything I could have said. So the one who were doing the packing, they got very much annoyed. They were very much irritated because they both were doing the packing, but that person was sitting and just watching them. I felt that. It made them nervous and excited, and they stepped on the things and put things behind them, and then couldn't find them when they wanted them. So they are both of them were very nervous and they were also excited also. So what happened? They stepped on everything, and whenever they were trying to do the packing, they were just putting the things behind them, and after that they were searching those things in the things which were collected. And what happened? And they packed the pies at the bottom. Pies, choco pies, banana pies, खाने की चीजें जो होती है. So what they did, like a cake. So what they did, they packed those pies at the bottom and put heavy things on top and smashed the pies in. उन्होंने उस पाई को सबसे नीचे रख दिया बैग में और उसके बाद उसके ऊपर सारी heavy things रख दी. उससे क्या हुआ? पूरी की पूरी pies डिस्टर्ब हो गई, पूरी डिस्ट्रॉय हो गई. They upset salt over everything, and as for the butter, I never saw two men do more with 1 and 2 pence worth of butter in my whole life than they did. So, what happened? They just spread the salt over every eatable. And now with the butter, what happened? After George had got it off his slipper, they tried to put it in the kettle. जॉर्ज ने उस बटर के ऊपर अपने पैर रख दिया था, तो उन लोगों ने क्या किया? अब उस बटर को स्लीपर में से निकाल कर उसको कैटल में भरने की कोशिश की. It wouldn't go in, and what was in wouldn't come out. Means उसके अंदर, कैटल के अंदर बटर निकल नहीं रहा था ढंग से, और ना चप्पल से उनकी निकल नहीं रहा था, और ना ही कैटल में जा रहा था. They did scrape it out at last and put it down on a chair, and Harris sat on it, and it stuck to him, and they went looking for it all over the room. अब उन्होंने क्या किया? अपना उसको जो स्लीपर में से बटर को निकाल कर चेयर पे रखा, क्योंकि वो कैटल के अंदर नहीं जा रहा था, और उस चेयर पे हैरिस आकर बैठ गया. उसने ध्यान नहीं दिया कि बटर इज देयर, और वो जो बटर था उसके पैंट्स पे चिपक गया. एंड दे स्टार्टेड सर्चिंग फॉर दैट ऑल ओवर द रूम. I will take my oath, I put it down on that chair, said George, staring at the empty seat. So, as they were searching, George said that I have surely kept that butter on that chair. But now what had happened? That chair is empty. Nothing is there. I saw you do it myself not a minute ago, said Harris. And Harris also supported him that, yes, I saw you that you were putting that butter over there. Then they started round the room again looking for it, and then they met again in the center and stared at one another. So they started searching for that butter in around the room again, and when they came in the center, they met again with them and they stared at one another. Most extraordinary thing I ever heard of, said George. So mysterious, said Horace. Means they वो सेंटर में मिले, दोनों एक दूसरे से कह रहे ये ऐसी गजब कैसा, ऐसा गजब कैसा हो गया, मतलब इतना मिस्टीरियस चीज कैसे हो गई कि ये बटर अभी यहाँ रखा, अभी यहाँ से गायब हो गया. Then George got round at the back of Harris and saw it. So George came at the back side of the Harris and he saw that. Why? Here it is all the time, he exclaimed indignantly. Means जब उसने उसके हैरिस के पीछे गया तो कहता है जब वो तुम्हारे पीछे लगा हुआ था इतनी देर से, तो तुम्हें वहां चेयर पे वो मिलता कैसे? Where? cried Harris, spinning round. Stand still, can't you? roared George, flying after him. तो जॉर्ज ने उससे कहा कि सीधे खड़े रहो, मैं बताता हूँ कहाँ है. and they got it off and packed it in the teapot. So they took that butter from his pan and they packed that butter in the teapot again. Now Montmorency is a dog. Was in it at all? Of course. Montmorency's ambition in life is to get in the way and be saw at. If he can squirm in anywhere where he particularly is not wanted and be a perfect nuisance and make people mad. तो यहाँ पर मॉन्टमेरेंसी जो डॉग है उसका हमेशा एक एम्बिशन रहता था कि हमेशा कोई ना कोई उसको डांटता रहे और वो कोई भी ऐसा काम करने के लिए रेडी रहता था, कोई भी न्यूसेंस करने के लिए सबको पागल बना देता था और वो हमेशा चाहता था कि सबका अटेंशन उसी की तरफ रहे and have things thrown at his head. Then he feels his day has not been wasted. तो उसको हमेशा लगता था जब तक कोई उसके ऊपर सामान फेंक के न मारे या उसको कोई बात न करे, उसको ध्यान न दे, तब तक उसे अच्छा नहीं लगता था. जब उसके ऊपर कोई खिलौना या बर्तन कुछ भी फेंक के मार देते थे तो उसको लगता था हाँ, that now my day has not been wasted. To get somebody to stumble over him and curse him steadily for an hour is his highest aim and object. So what he wanted that somebody should pay attention to him and just for an hour they should scold him, curse him, because he only wants the attention of everyone. And when he has succeeded in accomplishing this, his conceit becomes quite unbearable. Conceit means his pride. He feels very proud when he gets success in that, accomplishing his aim. So he feels very proud of himself. He came and sat down on things just when they were wanted to be packed. So the eatable things which George and Harris were packing, those things were kept outside. So that dog came and sat over that material. And he labored under the fixed belief that whenever Harris or George reached out their hand for anything, it was his cold, damp nose that they wanted. तो जब हैरिस और जॉर्ज अपना कोई सामान उठाने के लिए अपना हाथ आगे करते थे तो उसको लगता था कि ये लोग उसकी नाक को पकड़ने के लिए आ रहे हैं, तो वो हमेशा वो उनके सामान के बीच में अपनी नाक को आगे कर देता था. He put his leg into the jam and he worried the teaspoons and he pretended that the lemons were rats and got into the hamper and killed 3 of them before Harris could land him with the frying pan. अब उसने क्या किया, अपने पैर को जैम में डाल दिया और टीस्पून्स के ऊपर वहां पे जो लेमन्स रखे थे तो उसने ये सोचा कि ये जो लेमन है वो चूहा है, तो उसने उन चूहों को मारने के लिए और उसको 3 लेमन थे जो डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिए. एंड नाउ हैरिस गॉट इरिटेटेड, सो ही हिट हिम विद द फ्राइंग पैन. हैरिस सेड, I encouraged him. I didn't encourage him. A dog like that doesn't want any encouragement. It's the natural, original sin that is born in him that makes him to do things like that. So Harris said that everybody is saying that I used to encourage him to do the nuisance, to create the nuisance. But it is his natural the instinct. These are the original sin that is in him from his birth, that I am not saying him to do these things. Now the packing was done at 12:50 and Harris sat on the big hamper and said he hoped nothing would be found broken. So by 12:50 they all had done the packing. So that Harris sat on the big hamper and said that now nothing should be found broken. George said that if anything was broken, it was broken, which reflection seemed to comfort him. Means thought. Reflection here stands for thought. So okay, ab koi toot gaya, no problem. He also said he was ready for bed. Means he said that he wanted to go for a sleep. We were all ready for bed. Harris was to sleep with us that night and we went upstairs. So all 3 were ready to go for a sleep. So Harris was to sleep with them. We tossed for beds and Harris had to sleep with me. He said, "Do you prefer the inside or the outside, Jay?" मीन्स जब उन लोग को सोने की बारी आई तो उन्होंने कहा कि अंदर की तरफ कौन सोएगा. I said I generally prefer to sleep inside a bed. The author said that he prefers to sleep inside a bed. Harris said it was odd. George said, "What time shall I wake you fellows?" No, so the duty to wake them up was of George. So George asked them at what time they should wake him. Harris said 7. I said no, 6, because I wanted to write some letters. Harris and I had a bit of a row over it, but at last split the difference and said 6:30. Means आपस में उन लोग की झगड़ा हुआ, कोई ये कहता है 7 o'clock पे, कोई कहता है 6. So they decided that at 6:30 they all should wake up. Wake us at 6:30, George, we said. George made no answer, and we found on going over that he had been asleep for some time. So we placed the bath where he could tumble on into it on getting out in the morning and went to bed ourselves. तो अब उन लोग को समझ में आ गया कि अब जब ये लोग डिस्कस कर रहे थे तो उस टाइम जॉर्ज सो गया था. तो उन्होंने क्या किया कि इससे पहले कि वो उठे तो उन्होंने उसके बेड के वहां पर एक बाथ टब रख दिया पानी भरकर कि जैसे ये सुबह उठेगा तो ये उसमें गिर जाएगा, और वो लोग सब जाकर सो गए. So this was an extract from Three Men in a Boat written by Jerome K. Jerome. Thank you.